In the kaleidoscopic world of entertainment, there exists a figure whose laughter and geniality have brought joy to millions. Yet, behind this affable exterior lies a story of profound struggle and remarkable resilience. Born in a working-class neighborhood in Cleveland, Ohio, this individual faced numerous challenges at a young age. His father died when he was just 8 years old, leaving the family to grapple with financial instability and emotional turmoil. As he grew up, his sense of humor became a coping mechanism, a way to navigate the hardships of life. However, the darkness within him was never far away. By the time he reached college, he found himself in the grips of severe depression. The young man, who would later be synonymous with joy and laughter, was consumed by despair. At the age of 18, during a fraternity party, he reached a breaking point. Surrounded by people reveling in merriment, he felt an overwhelming sense of isolation and anger. "I was so mad at everybody. They were having a good time," he would later recall. "I remembered walking down the stairs and everybody was drinking, and I was like, what the hell are they so happy about?" This darkness led him to a desperate act, a suicide attempt, that fortunately did not succeed. "I think the suicide attempts were calls for help," he later explained, reflecting on his youth. This was not an isolated incident. He struggled with suicidal thoughts into his early 20s. His life, at times, felt like a relentless series of challenges, leading him to question his own worth and place in the world. "I was just tired of my life and thought, who's going to miss me?" Despite these internal battles, he found a lifeline in an unexpected place: boot camp. The structure and discipline provided him with a sense of purpose and a temporary respite from his inner demons. It was during this time that he began to explore stand-up comedy, a craft that would allow him to channel his pain into laughter. Comedy became both a refuge and a weapon, a way to confront his darkest thoughts while bringing light to others. He honed his craft and started gaining recognition. His sharp wit and relatable humor resonated with audiences, and he quickly rose through the ranks of the comedy circuit. His big break came when he landed his own sitcom, a show that would become a staple on 1990s television and would cement his status as a beloved figure in American entertainment. However, success did not erase his struggles with depression. Even as he became a household name, he continued to battle with the shadows that haunted him for so long. Just because you're a celebrity and you have money doesn't mean that bad things don't happen to you or you don't have bad days. Everybody's a person, he shared in a candid interview. Over time, he found ways to manage his depression. Comedy remained a critical outlet, allowing him to process his emotions and connect with others. He also became an advocate for mental health, using his platform to encourage open dialogue and reduce stigma around mental illness. His honesty about his own struggles resonated with many, offering hope to those who faced similar challenges. In recent years, he found a new sense of purpose as the host of a beloved game show. His infectious enthusiasm and genuine kindness endeared him to a new generation of fans. Although he still experienced bouts of depression, he learned to navigate them with a greater resilience and understanding. "It's not that bad," he admitted. Can you guys guess who this celebrity is? Well, if you haven't guessed yet, it's Drew Carey. Drew Carey's life is a powerful testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit. His journey from a young man grappling with deep despair to a celebrity comedian and game show host is a beacon of hope and resilience. His candid discussions about his struggles with depression and suicidal thoughts remind us that mental health challenges can affect anyone, regardless of their success and fame. Carey's story encourages us to seek help and support, to find a place of solace in our passion, and believe in our capacity to recover and growth. His legacy is not just one of laughter and entertainment, but one of courage and perseverance. He inspires us to take control of our mental health journey, to confront our challenges head on, and to believe in the possibility of a brighter future. Let Drew Carey's life remind us that even in our darkest moments, we have the power to overcome, to create, to inspire. His story is a timeless testament to the enduring power of hope and limitless potential of the human spirit. As we reflect on his incredible journey, let us embrace the hope and possibility that his life represents. Let us carry forward the legacy of resilience and courage, believing in our own potential to rise above our challenges and achieve greatness. In the spirit of Drew Carey, let us face the future with hope, courage, and an unyielding belief in the power of the human spirit. Welcome to the Mental Health Janitors, where we help you clean up the mess in your head. I'm your host, Sergeant Q, and with me as always, Doc Jess.
Hey, thanks for being here.
So what did you think of that story, Jess?
My first thought is boot camp and how he found his first moment of mental health resilience as he entered something really, really difficult, which is interesting because my husband was just conversating with me this morning how I've been pretty triggered the last couple of days. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to come in today and actually participate because I was struggling quite a bit. And I said, I'm going to go do the cold plunge and see how I feel after that. And as I got out and I was like, I feel so much better. Right. He said, it's incredible to me that when you're not feeling good, you go do something that makes you feel worse. And that somehow that makes you feel better. Like that's boot camp.
It is.
So boot camp. Like he went and did something way worse, but it provided structure and discipline. And that's such a good segue to what also we're going to talk about throughout our show today, which we're super excited about, is how to combat depression, major depressive disorder, what that looks like. And so much research has come out about how combating depression with structure, discipline, good sleep hygiene, all the things that good nutrition. It's just, there's so many things you can do to take ownership of your mental health. And I believe that Drew Carey is a testament of what that looks like, that you can still struggle, but at some point you have to decide, okay, am I going to keep surviving, or am I going to start thriving? I don't know. That's my thoughts. So what about you, Q?
Yeah, when I was researching the story, I knew Drew Carey. I've liked watching him for a long time. I knew he was a Marine. I did not know that he had struggled with depression. Those quotes came from an interview that just came out this year, where he started openly talking about it, which is fantastic because we need more people like him who are very accomplished and have a spotlight, have a stage to talk openly and honestly about mental health. But realistically, we can all do that. We all have a stage that we're on with our friend group, with our peers, with our colleagues at work, at home, at church. We all have a stage. It may not be as big as Drew Carey's, but it can be just as impactful. And so that's what I was thinking about. How do each one of us tell our story of turmoil and triumph to inspire others to find hope?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. How can you do that? How can you select 2 or 3 people that you can just start to share your journey with, and they can encourage you and you can empower them, and it just becomes this cyclical rate of reciprocity of building hope and transparency with one another.
Yeah. It also reminds me of the type of counselor I am. I always do like a very authentic and genuine introduction of myself with all my clients about their opportunity to choose a counselor that's a good fit for them, and how with every client I say I'm not everybody's cup of tea, because I like to share my own trials into triumphs so they see that I'm a normal person. And that's it's not that it's frowned upon in the counseling world. It's just not encouraged for counselors to share that way. And in my experience, the clients that grow the most, they really appreciate when I share my own failures in my marriage, in my growth, in my struggles. And I've been told my whole life that from different groups of people, you share too much about you're too open and you're too honest. And it used to bother me, like, yeah, maybe I do. And I guess the joke is true that once you turn 40, you stop caring. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care what you think. I don't care if you think I share too much. I'm going to lay my life out there and my struggles and my trials because they have helped people feel normal.
I can tell you why people appreciate it, because this world, there's so much fake everything out there. Fake news, fake celebrities, fake influencers, where they just show you all the great things that are happening in their life, but none of the hard work it takes to get there or the trials they go through. People are desperate for authenticity. And so when you share openly like that, it endears people to you because you're authentic and you're a real person with real struggles. Not somebody who has it all together and lives in some ivory tower, but somebody who really has to work every day to maintain their mental health, letting them know that it is achievable.
Right. Yeah. Good insight.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
It's one of the reasons that people come to hear me talk.
Yeah.
It's because I'm very authentic with the message that I'm bringing, as where people who are in your line of work, some of the doctors and therapists and counselors that I go and speak to, they don't share that with their clients, and they can't figure out why they can't get through to them. They can't figure out why there's a barrier, why they're not listening to what they're saying, why they're struggling in their practice, why they're struggling to help people stuck in these mental health conditions. It's because they're not relatable, because they're not authentic, because they're not sharing. So all of that stuff that they're teaching you, don't do this, don't share, it's actually a detriment, because now it puts the counselor or the therapist or the psychologist up on this pedestal that the patient will never achieve. So why try? That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah. Interesting. One thing also that was interesting about Drew Carey's story is if you were to look up researched like evidence-based research to show what helps with depression. He did some of that, but one thing that I didn't hear, and correct me if I'm wrong specifically, one thing that is a huge benefit and growth component if you're struggling with depression is your support system around you.
Yeah.
And so though it's not, we're going to talk later about a different tool, but that support system is really important, which I think is important for us to talk about our new advancement.
50% of Americans say that they or a loved one have suffered from mental health crisis. Together, we can change all that. Introducing QActual, a revolutionary new peer-to-peer based mobile application. Personalized to fit your lifestyle, with pinpoint GPS location in times of emergency. Connecting you to your care provider. With QActual, we will move you forward. Download QActual now and visit QActual.com.
Yeah, so the new advancement is QActual. It's the sponsor of the show. It's just a platform that you guys can use. You can download it absolutely for free and use it to build your own support network. Select 2 or 3 people that you know and trust. It's a private messaging app where you can communicate back and forth. And if you are in a mental health crisis, you don't have to think about who am I going to call or what am I going to say, because you already have that group established of people that you know and trust. And it's super easy to reach out, because even if you can't find the words, all you have to do is push one button and it sends an alert to them, and it will open up a chat feature and they can start communicating directly with you. So it's a super easy platform to use.
Yeah. Think about when Drew Carey was explaining his history of suicide ideation and suicidal thoughts, and what it would have been like for him back then to have a resource like that, to just, sometimes we can't even articulate what we're feeling. Usually when you're feeling that way, you can't articulate what you're feeling. And the ability to just push a button and you just get support, it blows my mind what an incredible tool that could be for people who struggle with any kind of mental health challenges.
Yeah, because remember, during a mental health crisis, part of the brain shuts down.
Yes.
The cognitive processing is reduced. So those faculties aren't available to you to make those good decisions or remember who to call or what to say. That's why recently the suicide hotline changed from the 1-800 number to just 988, because they know people have reduced cognitive function. We've taken it a step further by just making it a single button press, that connects you with your personal support network. So you're not trying to build rapport with somebody that you don't know over the phone. These are people that you already know and trust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's really, my mind is always, every time we talk about it, like as a mental health professional, like this, it needs to get out everywhere, this app and this resource.
One of the cool things about Drew Carey, when I was doing the research on this, is that laughter is such good medicine for your soul. When I was struggling with depression, I would go online and I would read funny stories. I would go on
hot sauce.
Yes, Amazon. I'd go on Amazon and I would read hot sauce reviews on Amazon, and they are hilarious. They are just super funny. By the time I read through 2 or 3 of those, I felt much better. Laughter is so important. And I think we may be able to get a pretty big name comedian on here coming up. You want to talk a little bit about that, Jess? You want to keep that under your hat?
No, yeah, we can talk about it. Growing up, my parents took in a lot of extra boys. So I have a biological older brother, and he had 4, 5 friends that pretty much lived with us throughout the journey of adolescence. And one of them is a pretty big name in our local community. And I've always considered him an older brother. And it's Jeff Dye, and he's a stand-up comedian. And he was the 3rd runner-up of Last Comic Standing in 2008. Cool. And then from there, he just really took off. And I mean, I remember like we would take our big video camera, and all the boys were funny. All the brothers, they were all very, very funny. And they would video like Jeff pretending to beat up one of the other guys at Lake Meridian. And I remember one time this big, huge black guy came running for Jeff, like, leave that guy alone. And we were like, it's a prank, right? There's just a lot of funny memories. But he is a very funny stand-up comedian. I would caution our listeners because he's not the cleanest. Okay. So, he's watched a couple of our podcasts, and he's an advocate for mental health, and we'll try to get him on here to just share maybe his journey with how comedy has helped him. I also have a really dear place in my heart for Drew Carey, because when I was deployed in 2004 to 2005 in Ramadi, Iraq, we would all gather around this little tiny TV and we watch Whose Line Is It Anyways?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, with Wayne Brady and Drew Carey. And that's how we would debrief, literally after mass casualties or hard situations. We would just watch episode after episode after episode. And even when after giving birth to my first daughter over 15 years ago, I had really bad postpartum depression. Mm-hmm. And maybe we could talk about that one day on a podcast, because it's actually like very prominent and not talked about very much to understand what that really looks like. So we'll just make a little note about that. But
Casey, I see him over there taking notes right now.
I remember 4:00 every day, Ellen would come on, and that's what I would look forward to. I loved Ellen. Oh, she made me laugh. And when I was struggling with that bout of postpartum depression, I lived for 4:00 because she just would make me laugh, and that's what I looked forward to. And so laughter has been a huge coping mechanism for me in my mental health growth and healing.
Yeah. And it's a really easy component that every one of you can add to your life right now. Super easy to do. Tons of YouTube out there. Dry Bar Comedy is probably my favorite comedians out there. There's a lady, I think her name she got 2 first names, like Mary Ann or Mary Lou. She is from like Minnesota. So she talks like that, don't you know?
Yeah, but like Bobby's World's mom.
She is so funny. And she is like whisper thin. I'm talking like a beanpole. Yeah, she is so tiny and so just kind of like mousy. But her delivery is on point. So if you check it out, Dry Bar Comedy. I cannot think of her name off the top of my head, but I'll have Casey put it in the notes. I'll have him put it, right there at the bottom of the screen, because I'll go research it for you guys. But fantastic. Love that comedian. Dry Bar Comedy is great.
And also it brings us to, even in our holy scriptures, it talks a lot about laughter. I found in Luke 6:21, says, God blesses you who are hungry now, for you will be satisfied. God blesses you who weep now, for in due time you will laugh. And then Job, most people have heard of the story of Job, right? In Job 8:21, it says, he will once again fill your mouth with laughter and your lips will shout for joy. And remember, we can't really experience laughter and joy unless we experience hardships and trials. And so it is what it is. We have to experience hardships and trials in order to know what it feels like to laugh and to be full of joy.
You know, it's funny. I found 2 scriptures, Job 8:21 being one of them, the one that you just read. But the other one that I found was Genesis 21:6, which has been Sarah. She says, this is Sarah speaking. She says, God has brought me laughter and all who hear will laugh with me. So I thought that was really neat, where she talks about her joy and laughter is infectious, basically. It'll spread to other people.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right, Jess, with this new format, do you want to still do the cards?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's try them. Let's see what we got.
I hope it's as good as last week.
Yeah, don't put the bar too high. Okay, here we go. Let's see.
Fault.
Let's see what happens.
All right,
here.
so which is older, the Great Pyramid of Giza or the world's oldest living tree?
The world's oldest living tree. It's probably going to be a Joshua tree. That's the oldest living tree. And it's going to be in Israel or it's going to be in 29 Palms. I'm going to say the tree.
Okay, a tree.
Where is it located?
A Great Basin bristle cone pine in North America has been identified as being over 5,000 years old, while the Great Pyramid is only around 4,600 years old. Now, if that tree could share its secrets.
There you go. Well, I had a 50-50 chance on that one, but I figured organic material. Okay, Jess, I know that you have a tool that you want to share with us.
I do.
So what do you got for us today?
Yeah. So one thing that research has shown to be an incredible tool for battling depression. What was the word in Drew Carey's story? It starts with the M. Melancholy. Yeah. That melancholy feeling or those negative thoughts or struggling with a bout of depression is, and I sound like a broken record, but I'm going to throw out there having a good support system, Q actual, getting good sleep. So figuring out what that looks like. We can do a special on that if you guys want, if you're interested. Eating nutritiously absolutely is going to help with your depression. I know I struggled for years. Like, no, I don't want to admit that that's true. It's true. And then also having an intentional mind of gratitude. And what that looks like is intentionally every day setting aside a couple minutes to find things that you're thankful for. And I know I've talked about this research before in the past, but there was a research study done where, participant is in group A, participants in group B, for 30 days, I think 90 days, maybe some, not long term, but not a couple days. Group A did intentional journal prompts of being grateful every day for things. And group B just lived their life like normal with no intentional gratitude. And at the end, group A, who participated in this practice, had 25% less reported mental health challenges, which is awesome. And so the mental health janitors.
No, go ahead.
The mental health janitors we've come up with this really cool ebook journal prompt thing it's really a 30-day challenge. And so I would highly recommend you download this 30-day gratitude journal prompt challenge and just see how you feel after doing it for 30 days. A couple of the ideas of the journal prompts.
Yeah, why don't you give us 3 of these? I looked at these. Give us number 1, number 12, and number 30. Number
1, is what are 3 things you're grateful for today, no matter how small? And so you just spend a couple times journaling 3 things you're grateful for today. Number 12 is who is someone who makes you laugh and why do you appreciate their sense of humor? And then you would spend a few minutes journaling about that person and maybe some memories you have of them making you laugh. And what was the other one? 30. What are 3 things that you're looking forward to in the near future?
So I will give you guys some tips. I journal a lot. And so you can just journal and write down kind of whatever comes to mind. That's fantastic if you're just starting out. But here's how to 10x this assignment. Write down whatever you want for the first 2 minutes. But then I want you to think about what thoughts, feelings, and emotions came up for you when you were doing that. Thoughts, feelings, and emotions came up. Now, that may seem kind of odd, like, thoughts, feelings, isn't that the same thing? No, they're 3 completely different things. And you'll start to understand why that's so important. When I talk to people and I can see that they get stuck in their story and they have a difficult moment, I say, what thoughts are coming up for you right now? And they'll tell me the thoughts that triggered that reaction, that freeze reaction.
Yeah.
I said, well, what does that feel like? And have them tell me what those feelings are. Well, what emotions are attached to those feelings? So thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Those are 3 key components to really 10x this 30-day challenge.
Yeah, that's good. Can you tell our audience what you mean by 10x?
Oh, sorry. 10x, so 10 times. So you'll get benefit out of this, right? Like you do this every day, you're going to get maybe a 10% increase in your mental resilience. But by doing that extra assignment, you'll 10x that. So 10 times 10 is 100. So it'll be 100 times more powerful if you do the thoughts, feelings, and emotions.
After you do your journal prompt.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really good feedback.
It's 10x. It's a term we use in business. If you want to 10x your business, how do you take, your $10,000 in revenue and make it, $1 million? You got to exit. So
cool.
Well, as always here on the Mental Health Janitors, we want to do 3 things. We want to educate, empower, and encourage you on your mental health journey.
And don't forget, you guys, to like and subscribe, comment, give us some feedback. Engage with us as we do this. We would love to hear from you and get some of that momentum.
Yeah, let us know what you think of the new format with the story time. Let us know what you guys think of that, if we should keep it or not. We're trying out some new things. So for the Mental Health Janitors, I'm Sergeant Q.
And I'm Doc Jess. And we're out.